Here are the Just No mother-in-law stories for this video. As always, don't forget to share and like if you enjoyed these videos. Without further ado, here we go! Mother-in-law thought we would put up with her discrimination during Christmas. Wrong. My mother-in-law dislikes me for quite a silly reason. I'm not American. I'm an immigrant. My parents moved to Russia to America when I was still a child, and I have been living here ever since. Even though Russia is my motherland, I think of America as my real home. I've grown up here, studied, made friends, and found the love of my life. My wife, whose mother is, putting it kindly, a very unpleasant person. I have no idea where mother-in-law's hatred for Russians stems from, but she obviously despises them with all her being. When my wife first brought me to meet her mother-in-law was very nice and kind to me, talking about what an elegant gentleman I am and how suitable I am for her daughter. Everything was fabulous until she heard I'm Russian. Our sweet attitude changed immediately, and she told her daughter to get that Soviet pig out of her house, without even trying to be discreet about it. After that, we went low contact with her, which turned into no contact after certain things she did. She tried to persuade her daughter to break up with me uncountable times. On the day of our wedding, mother-in-law faked a heart attack so that we would postpone everything and not get married. And when she didn't manage to destroy our relationship, she told us that if we ever had a child, she would kill them. We moved to a different part of the city, stopped all the contacts with mother-in-law, and lived as if she didn't exist. Eventually, we did have a child. Now he is 10 years old, but back then, when he was just born, mother-in-law happened to see my wife with a stroller on the street one day. That's when she contacted us, asking about is it a girl or a boy and how come we never told her anything. We reminded her her own words about harming our child, and she laughed it off, claiming she still dislikes me but would never hurt her grandson. We told her not to contact us until she's able to get rid of her xenophobia and accept us all as a family, not just certain people who she fancies. Now, recently, she contacted us again, complaining that Christmas is coming. She's totally alone. Her daughter has left her, and she doesn't even know her grandchild. We're kind of on the fence about meeting with her and seeing what can be done to make our relationships better. But then she asked what language our child speaks. Our son grew up to be bilingual. He's fluent in both Russian and English. With me, he speaks in Russian, and with his mother in English. Mother-in-law was like, well, he better speak English only when I'm present, and that husband of yours too. I won't put up with hearing any of those Moscow language. I'm an American, and here in this country, I want to hear English only. My wife has learned Russian quite well from all the time living with me, and she said, okay, mom, we understood everything about you in Russian. That enraged mother-in-law even more. The fact that not only I and our son speak in Russian, my wife now do too. But seriously, we were like, mother-in-law, what did we tell you? We told you not to speak to us until you're fine with your son-in-law being Russian, which you're obviously still not okay with. Now you're calling us and supposedly want to make peace with us, yet you're making rules as to what we can and cannot do in our family? Why? She believes so strongly that America should be for Americans only, but that's just unrealistic because I'm pretty sure there are hundreds of different nationalities living in the USA these days. We were like, okay, mother-in-law, we heard what you said. Glad you got it off your chest. I guess it has been gnawing on you and eating you from inside. It must be hard to carry such hate inside you. But we don't want to meet you, and we sure as hell don't want to expose our son to your damn discrimination. She wanted to spend Christmas with us, well, too bad. If she thought we were going to sit at a table with her and listening to her racial and xenophobic nonsense, she couldn't be more wrong. If she wants to be part of our family again, there's only one way to do it. Educate herself. Get over her ignorance and then come to her family with an open mind. And only when we are completely sure she has changed as a person, a mother and mother-in-law, only then she will be allowed to meet her grandson. We don't think she would actually kill him, but if he ever was to meet his grandmother, she needs to be kind and loving. Till that, walk along, mother-in-law. Let's see what the comments say. I have to say I love your wife. What a diamond spine. It sounds like mother-in-law has just hit hard consequences to her actions and is casting about for a simple solution where she doesn't have to do anything. Like, stop being a xenophobic. Okay, so quick question. Is your mother-in-law religious or particularly patriotic? Because I have a good response for either of those. Religious. Christ loved all people. Your behavior is so appalling that Jesus is probably ashamed of your behavior. Do you think he cares whether I was born in Russia? What will you say to Christ when you have the answer for your behavior? Patriotic. Good people have fought and died for my right to come to this country and embrace it as my own. America is a land created by immigrants. I can live and work here because of the sacrifices made by the founders. Your behavior is frankly un-American. Ugh, I hate it when parents decide that their children, grandchildren cannot learn another language and forbid them from speaking it. My mother is one of those people. She did not want me to learn Spanish, and I had a fit that I was going to be teaching the kids said language. She wanted to be able to communicate with them. Kids are bilingual, favoring English, but joke's on her. Her favoritism towards the other grandkids and inability to not say stupid carp has both of my adult kids on VVLLLC with her. Xenophobia sets me off like nothing else. You and your wife have done a great job raising your son and keeping the harpy away. What fascinates me is that your son is 10 years old and now she is wanting to have a relationship. My mother-in-law cut us off mid-announcement about buying a bigger house last year to say, "You better not be announcing another pregnancy. Bitches, I'm pregnant again. How do I break it to my just no mother-in-law?" So the title says most of what I'm asking for advice about. Also a mini rant about her behavior last year and her totally expected inappropriate BEC moment from Thanksgiving this year. My mother-in-law is typical in most respects. She's overbearing, domineering, narcissistic, boundary stomper, and very much used to getting her own way. She's the self-crowned matriarch of the family, and literally everybody has to ask her permission, run stuff by her, get her opinion before they will say, do, or say anything. This includes her own parents and mother-in-law. She and I got along for the most part in the beginning. We had first son and behavior of course amplified. Got to the point where her boundary stomping caused me to go into precipitous labor with second son. And please do read all about her hideous behavior in my last post. It took a huge event, culminating in her threatening to break our windows out and a fist fight with my toddler in someone's arm for us to go no contact for a while, and set clear boundaries for her behavior. Since then, her behavior is mostly BEC with some true just no sprinkled in for fun, because otherwise why would I be here? Fast forward to last year. At this time, y'all, the cringe is effing real. We had made it clear for a while prior to this that we had long outgrown our house and were looking for a larger upgrade. We found a house we loved, we could afford, and it was just perfect. So we start to make the announcement at a family event that we had something important we wanted to share. She pops up off the couch and literally starts shouting, "Oh Jesus, oh no, you better not be announcing that OP is pregnant again." Dear husband is sort of stunned, and he starts to explain that it wasn't our news, but she's talking right over him about how they can't do it anymore, she's too sick, they're getting too old to raise our kids, blah blah blah. Everyone is frozen. Dear husband calmly finishes that we found our forever home and plan on making an offer the next day, but thanks her for ruining the moment. And speaking of that, why did she feel the need to cut him off? And why is it any of her business anyways? He says how many children we have is decided by us, and that she doesn't now, nor has she ever raised our kids. It was puzzling and awkward, and just took the pleasure out of the moment. In case you're wondering, right now, my in-laws watch my 3 boys every other Sunday. I work overnight as a nurse and they stay so I can sleep for a few hours. I'm being generous by saying my in-laws. It's my poor doormat father-in-law who watches them. He's there when dear husband leaves for work. She will sleep the F in, smoke half a pack of cigarettes while dickling around on Facebook. Then she will take a nap, then wake up and shower and get ready for an hour. She shows up shortly before dear husband gets home or I wake up. So in reality, she sees my kids for maybe 2 hours twice a month, never alone. Tops. She shows up to take her pictures so she can play Facebook grandma. And every third Tuesday again, my father-in-law comes for 2-3 hours so dear husband and I can attend couples counseling. My father-in-law adores my boys and vice versa. They love their pop and he loves their reciprocal adoration from them. It's funny because the person who actually sees them the most doesn't complain and loves the time. The person who spends a grand total 4 hours monthly felt confident enough to comment about future children. Surprise, bitches, because I'm having a 4th little boy, and for some reason after last year we can't bring ourselves to announce to them. Let me be clear, we both have good jobs and make good money. Pay our own bills, take care of our own responsibilities, but she makes me feel like a scared 15-year-old who doesn't want to tell their mom they're pregnant. I don't get it. I'm almost 35 years old. We live comfortably and have everything we need and most things we want. We're fortunate. Dear husband mentioned that if she reacts the way we think, then he will mention that the only reason they are there every other Sunday is not because we can't afford it or have no options, it's because my father-in-law wants to spend the time. If she can't do it anymore, then when does she plan on seeing them? Because those 2 hours twice monthly is all she sees them. And the sexiest Thanksgiving moment ever goes to dear husband this year. He used to be so deep in the FOG, y'all. This year, I had wanted to cook Thanksgiving dinner in my new house and host. I asked mother-in-law if she had ideas for Thanksgiving. She lets me know she's already made reservations for us all, without asking or checking whether we wanted to, or had plans. She's used to doing this. This is her autopilot mode when she thrives as matriarch. Minor background, our 2 eldest boys are on the spectrum. We arrive and oldest is so overwhelmed, sensory-wise, he just shuts down. Being in a banquet room with 200 plus people was too much. Despite being told not to do so, she attempted to engage him and force him into complying and conversation. I reminded her that it's too much. He just wants to sit on my lap and please give him space. Our 2.5-year-old ran away a million times from the table and was generally being a normal, terrible 2-year-old. It was a mess. Dear husband was over it and so was I. He announced loudly that this was the last year for reservations out somewhere. We will cook and everybody's welcome. It's way too much. His mother responded with, well, I was having a nice holiday, like a little bitch. Help, please. Let's have a look at the comments. What you allow will continue. It seems harsh, but it's very true. Father-in-law, like you say, truly loves your children. She doesn't, obviously. How could she pretend otherwise if she can throw a fit about possible new pregnancy? Father-in-law enables her, obviously, and by caving to her controlling moves like those reservations, you enable her too. You seem to have everything you need to have a nice life. You seem happy, except when she's involved and decides for you all. So, no more. Is it possible for you to find another person who watches for the kids when you have your night shift and appointments and keep father-in-law involved with the kids without her? Congratulations for your baby and the house. They're proof you can handle your life the way you want. She cannot. I wouldn't tell her. She's point blank said, you better not be announcing another pregnancy, so follow her orders. Don't announce it. The CBF when she finds out will be epic. Why didn't you tell me? I'm your mom. Dear husband, I deserve to know. I would just tell father-in-law privately one of the times he's watching the kids and just not announce to mother-in-law. Then if she gets all huffy, say she didn't want you to ever announce it to her again. So what's the point? She would barely see the kids anyways. She told you what to do. You better not be announcing you're pregnant again. So you don't announce it to them at all. You could tell father-in-law when you're alone, but I would ask him to not spill the beans to mother-in-law just yet, since she was so against you guys announcing it, and that hurts. So you are complying with her wishes by not announcing it to her at all? I would say exactly that. Holidays, I would no longer cater to her. I would invite father-in-law over and not even deliberately invite mother-in-law. She will probably come along with father-in-law anyways, but I very specifically wouldn't explicitly invite her. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like will be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoyed this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.